working out the bugs here, Coop. All right. So let's be honest. When it comes to real estate, I know about this much, if I'm being completely honest, right? When we bought our house in 2017, I leaned on my wife heavily, as I have since the day I met her, because I'm a giant man child and adulting's hard. So I trusted my wife, I trusted our real estate agent at the time, which was my cousin, which is, never mix those things together in future reference. There was a stack of paperwork. We signed a bunch of shit, and I don't know what any of it meant, right? So here we are many years later. I trusted the process. I trusted that she, my wife, everybody knows what they're doing. And, but I don't know what these things mean. I'm pretty sure I'm using the word escrow wrong at least 85% of the times I say it. It sounds like it's the edible snail, which I know it's not. But right, escargot, it's weird, right? I'm pretty sure that I've been faking it as an adult when it comes to these kinds of things for the last few years. And so today I brought in somebody who knows he's the GOAT. He knows the stuff, and I'm going to play myself, the person that doesn't know anything, and hopefully I learned some stuff. So Brian Cooper is a Florida real estate agent and a current badass. He's done everything from construction. Have you done construction?
A little bit when I was younger.
Did you coach baseball?
Not coach. I played.
You played baseball?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Did you ever manage a country club?
I was in food and beverage service for a long time, but not at a country club. I worked at the pool when I was a kid. I got fired from that though.
Okay, so clearly my job. Hey, that happens. It sounds boring.
I was 14.
Yeah. So clearly my sources are crap. But anyways, you've done a bunch of stuff. You did a little bit of construction. You played baseball. You worked at a country club when you were younger, and now you dove straight into real estate.
Yeah.
He's a family guy.
Yeah.
He's a proud dad.
Very much.
He's a proud Christian.
Yes.
And most importantly today, he's our very own guide in the crazy world of real estate in 2025. I'm going to ask him some questions, and we'll see what goes. Brian, thank you so much for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And, just to give you a little bit more on who I am. I've been in the business for 20 years. I started out doing mortgages in 2005 for a couple of years. It sucked.
Okay.
I hated it.
Sure.
But I love the real estate end. And, by the grace of God, I got surrounded by some really good people. And so, they took me under their wing and taught me. And I worked in a very cutthroat market, and I've been doing it ever since. So.
Right. Yeah. So when I went to your website, so are you still licensed in Virginia?
Yeah. I just closed a property in Virginia, a tough one too.
Got it. So yeah. Virginia and Florida, so double agent.
Yeah, double agent. That's right.
Yeah, double O negative agent. That's right. So you just closed one. So when you say it was difficult, what makes closing a property difficult? I'm sure that's a loaded question, but hit me with this one.
Very loaded. This one was, I will say I got lucky on this too, because there are still properties in that neighborhood that are sitting. But last year, Fannie and Freddie changed a rule, which then made this community's condos ineligible for conventional financing.
So let's pause for a second. You say Fannie and Freddie as if I know them. Who the hell are they?
So Fannie and Freddie are wonderful secondary mortgage market buyers. They buy most of the mortgage-backed securities. So when you go buy a loan or go get a loan, then somebody underwrites that loan, and then they sell that loan to generally Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or FHA if it's a different product.
Sure.
And that's how they circulate money and, buy things on the secondary market to turn them into commodities that they can trade.
Sure. So if you don't come in with all the cash and you have to finance, you're financing through one of these.
Yeah, generally it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA are your top four. And then there are other overlays that you can have that create other programs through the state or through the county or whatever, but they're generally going to be backed by one of those entities.
Major entities.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2025.
Yep.
An election year. Or was an election year.
Was an election year.
Yeah, it wasn't. So we're on the
first year after
election year.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 2025. It's the first year after election year.
Yeah.
What's happening now? It's July 2025. What's going on out there in the market? What should we care about if we're in the market looking or in the market selling?
So we're definitely in a shifting market. We have been on the upswing for quite a long time. I mean, more than we should have. Our growth has outpaced our wages. Property values have gone through the roof, and I think we've gone past that rubber band point where we're going to see a little. My belief, we're going to see some contraction, and we probably should. We need more affordability out there. The other thing that we've got going on, it's such a weird market because while we are on the high end of affordability with higher interest rates, I don't think they're high, but they're higher, and a little bit of inventory sitting on the market, we still have a housing issue in places that need new construction. So it is such a strange market out there right now. And I think if you're a buyer, it can be a good time for you. If you're a seller, it can also be a good time for you. It just depends on your market. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on what situation that you're in. And, you got to talk to a pro about that. And, they'll guide you through. And listen, generally people move because they're trying to solve some sort of uncomfortability. If they're 100% comfortable in where they are, they're not going anywhere.
Right.
So, whatever that uncomfortable situation is, and that's what we're trying to solve, there's a place in the market for it.
And so you're specifically talking about the Tampa Bay market, or is this a nationwide thing that you're kind of generally saying? Obviously, rates are nationwide, so
yeah, rates are nationwide. I'm generally speaking of our Tampa Bay market.
Sure.
The Virginia market's a little bit different. We still have a seller's market in some respects there, and some price points there, and then other price points there. Shifting back into a buyer's market, but they are two totally different markets. They operate differently. I see Florida as a leading indicator, where I see Virginia as kind of a lagging indicator.
Gotcha. Okay, so again, no dumb questions, just dumb people. Hopefully, I'm not one of those.
Not at all, man. These are good questions.
So when I hear buyer's market and I hear seller's market, I think I get what you're saying. You're saying that if it's a buyer's market, that means there's a lot of inventory out there. So there's a lot more flexibility in making a deal, not having to settle maybe, not having somebody maybe come in and scoop out, from underneath you, because that happened a lot during, the end of the pandemic. It was just like people buying houses sight unseen, which is, that I do know. That is crazy. Like, you should see this friggin' place.
I did it.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
Great.
Okay.
We live in it now.
Yeah,
we love it.
Yeah. It's a sweet house.
Yeah.
He lives right down the street from my parents, by the way. So a buyer's market is when, like, you have the pick of the litter. Seller's market is inventory's low. So if you're selling, you could sell it for double, triple, the value. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yes, you have that generally correct. Buyer's market,
nailed it.
Seller's market. You're thinking in the right direction there.
Sure.
For sure. But again, I will say though, that it really depends on your situation and your circumstance.
Sure.
Because only once in my lifetime has real estate ever gone down, and we've already recovered from that. And it went down way more than it should have. And, for reasons none of us could have helped. So
you're talking about 08.
Yeah, I'm talking about 08.
And you're
07,
saying 07, 08. And you're saying that we've not still recovered from that?
No, we have.
Oh, we have. Okay.
Absolutely. Gotcha. We have. Absolutely. Yeah. I think we did a good job. In fact, to that point, I think we went, on the other end of it.
Sure.
We went to a huge seller's market, but we had some disruptions that caused some of those things too.
Sure.
So, a good, healthy, balanced market is going to be about 6 months worth of inventory. And
what are we sitting on right now today in Tampa Bay or Virginia?
Yes.
Sure.
So it depends on the type of property.
Sure.
So if we're in the condo market, if you're looking for some investment condos, man, go scoop them up. And they're out there in the Tampa area, in the Clearwater area. People got to get rid of them. There's a lot of months of inventory. I think 15, 16 as of last count.
Well, because of the hurricane, though, right? Are these places trashed?
No. Well, it depends on the unit and the deal.
Sure.
But some of them, yes, they need some work. Others, a lot of these condo buildings are taking care of these things through their insurance and what you pay for every month.
Right.
So, it's on them, but it's that and what's going on in the condo market down here with all the rules changing and things like that. That's what's causing all this. And again, I while it sucks for those people, it is necessary what's happening. So the condo market is definitely a buyer's market down here right now, for sure. I think the townhouse market is too. The single family home is kind of sitting on the balanced end. It's not, it's about, 4 to 6 months, depending on where you are.
Sure.
It's a good time, I think, if you're a buyer, because one of the reasons everything happened the way that it did was because money was practically free.
Yeah.
And it's not going to get down that way again.
Right.
But eventually it's going to get down into the fives. It may take a couple of years, but it's going to happen. And
right now it's what, 7?
Yeah, you're probably at like 6, 8, 7, 5, 7, something like they're creeping in the 7s. And, it's the price of money, but
sure,
you can also get into a place now. And yes, we're losing in some areas about 1.5%, maybe 2% over last year, which is nothing,
what did they say? Isn't it like 1,000 per point or something? Like what's the percentage point equal on a mortgage long term on a payment?
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy. Okay. I hated my mortgage end of things. I can tell you the general rule is if you're saving a point or more, you can refinance. I also do a little bit of my own calculation when it comes to that, because I like to look at the amortization and see how long. Like if I've owned it 10 years and I go out and take another 30-year fixed on it, well, I've paid 10 years worth of interest. If I lower my payment, that may be great, but am I just tacking on another 10 years of interest and now I'm actually paying more?
Sure.
I'm lowering the payment, but I end up paying more over time.
So my wife, Pam, you met her. She's lovely. We did the
Pam's rock star.
Yeah, she's pretty rad. We pay our mortgage twice a month.
Nice. That's awesome.
But not the full. It's still the single payment.
Yeah, it's split in half though.
It's just split in half. And what that does, and don't quote me on the math, gang, but that does, if I understand it correctly, is shaves like 10 years off. 8? What's a good number?
7.
7? Okay. 7.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. But it ends up shaving. And again, it's the same full amount. We're just making bi-monthly payments.
So
or bi-weekly. Yeah.
If you pay one extra mortgage payment a year, so if you take your mortgage payment, you divide it by a 12th, and we're only talking principal and interest too. Forget your escrows. Your principal and interest divided by 12 and added onto your mortgage payment, you'll save 7 years on the life of your loan.
And what is escrow?
Okay, so
what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, I hate that term because it's in Virginia they don't use the term escrow. Down here they're like, oh, we're closing escrow.
What does that mean?
It sounds like a Matlock movie.
It sounds made up, and therefore it's confusing, and it just sounds like everybody's just trying. Anytime I hear a big word, it's like somebody's trying to screw me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get screwed. I'm paying more money for a service. It just is it? Yeah, is it? B? Come on, Coop.
Yeah. So basically, when you're holding money in escrow, you're just you're letting a third party hold a certain amount of money so that it binds the contract together.
Oh, it's like a promissory note.
It's more than a promissory note. Your promissory note would represent what should be in escrow, whereas escrow is the actual money.
Oh, got it.
And so when a buyer brings all of their money to the title company and gives it to them and they hold it in escrow for closing, that's closing escrow. When you put a deposit down in Virginia, we call it an earnest money deposit. It's an escrow deposit down here. But when you give that money over to them, that binds the contract. It's called, in Virginia, it's called consideration. So that's the consideration for the contract that binds it.
Okay. Sounds confusing, man. Is it intentionally confusing?
It is. You know why? Because they want you to take that stupid class every 2 years and pay them money so they can tell you what a simple concept sounds complicated.
Yeah, I just can't. Okay, so Florida got hit pretty hard by hurricanes. What is that doing for the market? What does that mean for first-time home buyers? What do you think's going on out there?
Well, So hurricanes aside, well, hurricanes included, I should say, plus the new rules for the condos. You know, a lot of these guys, if you can get into a condo that has already had its that's already had all of its new regulations, inspections, everything in place, then you know you should be in pretty solid shape. And because it's such a buyer's market, you can get it at a good price. And if you can afford it with the condo fee, that's what's really gone up. You know, I think you'll do well. And honestly, for a buyer, if you can get in now with not very much money down, you can get concessions from the seller. If it's a payment that you can afford, if it's a place that you plan on being for five years plus, it's not a bad time. It's really not. If you can afford a 7% interest rate right now, then in 2 years, when you refinance it to a 5% interest rate, you're going to be in so much better shape financially, and you'll have worked up all that equity. You'll have, you know, written off all of those interest dollars. You know, you really will be ahead of the game, and that's the key. Like, you can't try to catch the falling knife. You really have to just get in the game and make sure that when you get in the game, it's a game that you're setting yourself up for long term. Your primary resident should be you're stable, you're safe. You know, nobody breaks into your safe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Same thing.
Yeah. So what does a real estate agent actually do? Right. And so I'll give you a story. When we decided to get a house, I'll give you a minute. I'm not trying to insult your profession. But,
oh no, I can't wait.
So when we were looking for our house, Pam was looking for that house. Mm. Pam was all over Zillow. She was all over everywhere. Right. Just anytime we're driving by and we saw a for sale sign, you know, and we were living in South St. Pete, Gulfport at the time when we first started looking. And we had, you know, she reached out earnestly, you know, to a couple of agents, you know, from wherever the hell they're from, you know, Keller Williams, I don't know. And we had one dude, older fella, nice enough, just kept bringing us to houses and showings. Now, we were pre-kids at the time, so, you know, thankfully we didn't have that headache. That were like nothing near where we wanted to be, what we wanted to get. They were financially, you know, it met the financial part about it, how much we wanted to spend, borrow, you know, whatever. To the point where Pam was just like, and I say Pam because, again, Pam drove this car. I told you, I was just kind of along for the ride, just happy to know, you know, we're going to buy a house. Like, because I grew up not believing that was possible, not because anybody told me that. I just figured like, oh, dude, there's no way I can afford it. The truth is you can afford it because there's people out there right now paying $1,400, $1,800, $2,200 in rent.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And you can absolutely afford it. So, and even if you have shitty credit or, you know, maybe I don't have any money down, there's opportunities that exist out there for everybody. And the problem is people don't know it, which is why I wanted to bring you on there. And go ahead. We'll talk about it.
They definitely don't know it. Yeah. And I'm pleading with you that if you even have the thought in your mind that you want to be a homeowner, I don't care if it's now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, call me. Call me. We'll get you there, and I'll be around to do it.
Yeah.
I don't care if you do it tomorrow, and I don't care if you do it 10 years from now. Call me. Let's get you on a path to get it done. Because unless you have a plan, you're always going to have that limiting belief.
Right.
And the limiting belief is what stops most people from getting it done. And I'm telling you, all of you young folks out there that are in your 20s, you've graduated college, you're out on your own, and you're paying rent, stop. This is the perfect, you can build wealth for the rest of your life with your very first purchase, and you should. Everybody out there should do it in their 20s if they can. That's my...
Yeah, no, I agree. Because again, dudes, you're already paying the money.
Exactly.
Right? Even if mom's paying for the money or you have roommates, whatever, man, like, doesn't matter.
No.
One of the things I was in my 20s, I was in a band, and one of the dudes bought a house, right? And Palm Harbor too. So, you know, it wasn't,
nice.
wasn't up in, wasn't up in Pasco County
right.
where it was really cheap.
Right.
It was in a really, really nice community. And it was a 2-2 sweet house. And I was his roommate.
Yeah.
helping him pay his mortgage.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. And so, understanding that times are different, that was like 20, almost 20 years ago. But, and to your point, these, young people are coming out of college. They're in crazy freaking debt. The jobs are paying dog shit if they can even find a job. There's all these stories, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, I don't want to. I'm not trying to force or make anybody feel bad. But my point is that somebody somewhere is paying rent, and it's way more expensive, or it's as expensive, possibly more expensive than a mortgage. Look into it. Call Coop. Coop, I have another question.
Yeah.
You mentioned condo laws. I heard you say the laws. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2025 Florida real estate laws, layman's terms, because again, I don't speak the language.
Yeah.
Something about condo law overhaul. It says you get 7 business days to review condo docs. It's up from 3. So it used to be 3 days, and now it's 7 days.
Yes. So I believe that in the paperwork, it defaults to 7. So in the paperwork, it says if left blank, then 7 days in parentheses. But you were able to do that. So yes, up to 7. And I believe that doesn't include Sundays and like holidays and stuff too.
Oh, nice. So you get a little bit of buffer there.
Yeah, you get a little bit. You get a little bit of buffer there. And listen, sellers need to know this more than buyers, believe it or not. Because this is a strategic part of the process when you're a seller to protect your contract. The idea for a seller is to get to closing, right? And let's face it, there are plenty of people out there that want to get the best deal that they can while they're in the middle of the process.
Sure.
And can take some, slippery paths to get there. And so to protect yourself, things like having your condo docs when you list the property so that you can turn them over as soon as you execute the contract.
Yeah.
And that effective date is big because then your clock starts ticking.
And so again, if I'm a 5-year-old child.
Yeah, let me put.
What are condo docs? What are we talking about?
That's all the paperwork that is required to disclose from a buyer or from a seller to a buyer from the condo association. So,
Sure.
It's going to be things like their budget. It's going to be things like the milestone reviews that are new, the review for any of their holdings, any of the assessments that they've got going on or coming up.
Sure.
What reserves they have. All of the minutes. They want you to have the minutes for the meetings so that you can
I saw that condos
those.
must post 12 months of board meetings minutes online.
Yeah.
They have to post them.
Yeah.
So what was going on then? So these rules and laws come from somewhere. And I've never bought or owned or lived in a condo. So when you buy a condo, is it like a mega HOA? Like what's happening there?
It's a different type of HOA. So generally, an HOA and a condo do different things. So again, we're talking about the Florida market, not the Virginia market. I will tell you that I think that Virginia, prior to this new rule change, had all of their condo stuff in a much more organized and better process.
Sure.
And I think we're on the verge of getting there, but we're not quite there here yet. As painful as it is, I applaud these new rules because it is giving us milestone inspections, which is why all of this happened. Once they started peeling the onion back from the collapse of that building in Miami, and they started to realize the neglect that had been going on through condos, and then they took a look at condo associations as a whole, they saw what a scam was going on. They were collecting money. They weren't putting money in reserves. They weren't doing inspections. They weren't, they
weren't doing their job.
They weren't doing their job.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they weren't keeping their tenants safe.
Sure.
And, you can place the blame wherever, but the bottom line is somebody needed to take charge of that, and a difficult decision had to be made, and it was made, and we're feeling the pain from it now. And opportunity will come up because of that. Some people are going to feel the pain. Some people are going to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line. But it had to happen. It absolutely had to happen. People lost their lives, and it's a shame because it didn't have to be that way.
Sure. Neglect. Yeah.
100% neglect.
Negligence, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
Flood risk disclosure, right? So sellers, landlords must say if a property's ever been flooded before.
Yep.
This is the state pretty much saying, if the place turns into a swamp, we're telling you up front. So prior to this, you didn't have to disclose that.
I wouldn't say that. Okay. Again, this is one of those things where we're adding paperwork because somebody sued somebody else or it was brought to an attention that, hey, we don't have something specific. But, you know, I'm going to plug being a realtor here a little bit too.
Yeah, please. That's why you're here.
The reason that agents become realtors is because we're supposed to follow a code of ethics. And part of our code of ethics is that if you know about something that affects the material value of a property, you need to disclose that. And, you know, different states have different laws about how it's done and, you know, the way that it's done, and they have different addendums and, you know, different regions require different things. I mean, the plains of Iowa aren't going to have the same disclosures as the shores of
right, sure.
Right.
Or California earthquake. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So, you know, I applaud the fact that we have this addendum here. You know, I applaud the fact that we've put it on paper now. But what I would say is, as a practical matter, we should have been practicing this already. And so putting the two of those things together is a good thing. Yeah. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And sellers need to be aware of that too. You know, I mean, these things they need to be aware of before they list their house, before they think about selling it. Yeah. You know, it's all gonna be put into a little value mixing bowl, and you know, the equation
and tell a story. Yeah, it's going to tell the story of the property. Yeah. Squatter protection laws. So I don't know how often you're on TikTok or Instagram or online, but
no,
it's my job. I'm always on there. Dude, there's so many videos of like squatters at Airbnbs, and I don't know how many of them are real. I can't vouch for the validity of a lot of these, but you hear a lot of these stories about squatters and then squatters' rights and things like that, and people like refusing evictions, et cetera, et cetera. Two-part question. One, how real is that from your perspective in this market, number one? And number two is, what were the changes that I read? Faster legal tools to remove unauthorized people. So what does that mean?
Okay, so to your first question, how real is that? Yeah. It depends on where you live, because thank God we live in Florida. They don't put up with that kind of crap. And frankly, you know, they shouldn't, because we're a tourism state. We can't have rules that allow people to squat in Airbnbs that expect people to want to come and invest their money down here.
Sure.
You know, and we certainly can't have squatters in Airbnbs and expect to want, you know, Joe Schmo to bring his family down here and vacation next to that.
Sure.
So I applaud Florida for that as well. There are things that I don't think Florida does well and things that I think they do great, and this is one of them. The difference of that, you go into some of the states out west, and the squatters' rights kind of outdo the owners' rights. And
that's so crazy to me, dude. It's like you're paying all this money. You met with a Brian or a Cooper, you know, a realtor, and you went out and you signed the paperwork. You don't know what it fucking means, and you did all the stuff, and you looked for weeks and weeks and months, and you stressed, and you put a bid on a house, and you lost the house, and you go through all this shit, only to find that somebody, a tenant or whatever, maybe it's a rental property or like a VRBO or Airbnb or whatever, and these fools have more rights than the owner of the property. Make it make sense, man. How does that work?
I can't.
No,
because it doesn't.
But where did somebody somewhere said what? Like, what's the argument?
All right. Well, I'm going to go.
Let's go.
I'm going to go a little deep into this.
Let's go.
I think that this is the devaluation of our property rights. Okay. This is the devaluation of our sovereignty. Okay. The reason that I love
that's some deep state stuff.
Real estate. The reason I love real estate is because when you own a property, it should be yours. It's, you know, you can do with it as you please. Yeah. You can choose to buy it or not. So I don't want to hear any HOA crap. if you choose to buy in an HOA, don't get mad at me because you can't paint your door pink.
Or you left your cans out for 2 days. You can't have a boat.
Right. No,
or what? Yeah.
Know the rules. But, again, when you own your property, it's your sovereign right to own that piece of land. And in America, that makes us different from a lot of places out there. And by giving people squatters rights the way that they do, they're infringing on your sovereignty. They're infringing on your personal property rights. And, those personal property rights are a generational value that you can give to your kids and your grandkids, and it can be passed down. It can be, it can be used in a ton of different ways.
Sure.
And that's the way that we've built wealth in this country. And by these places giving these squatters rights the way that they are, what they're telling me as a citizen or as a consumer or even as an agent is that they don't really, they care more about individuals that want to take from me than my sovereignty. And I can never abide by that.
Sure.
I just can't.
Yeah,
can't
it's a tough pill to swallow for sure.
Very much.
So they changed that. There's faster tools.
Yeah. So faster tools. Again, Florida's never really put up with that.
Sure.
Now they're
we got like Ron DeSantis.
Fast track your ass out there.
Seriously. Well, and so Ron DeSantis was just out there, or not just, but I've heard in the last few weeks/months, he's talking about. What's the soundbite is something property taxes.
Tax.
Do you own? And this is a really good point because that's the other thing is we bought in Palm Harbor. You live in Palm Harbor.
Yeah.
We bought in 2017. Great time to buy. We refinanced when financing was the mammograms, dude. Like I think we got like a 3.1 or 2.8, something really great.
Yeah.
We didn't, and then we'll get into equity and we can talk for days because we didn't pull out equity at the time.
Sweet.
Which we were supposed to.
No.
Well, if we wanted to do stuff with it, that was the time to do it because now we're looking at HELOCs to do stuff, and that's a whole other monster of a mess of a conversation that I'm not grown up enough to have. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so Ron DeSantis is out there going like, well, do you own your home? Why are we paying all these taxes? Especially in unincorporated Palm Harbor, which is where I live. It's like, whose land is it? Whose house is it?
Yeah, well, and
so explain that to me. Where's Ron coming from?
So Ron's coming from a very smart place that says, okay, yeah, you own your land, but if you don't pay taxes to the government, they're going to take your land. I mean, I can't abide by that either. So I will say this, that the property tax we pay in Palm Harbor, luckily because we're unincorporated, we're only paying county tax. In Dunedin, if you're one of the cities that's incorporated in Pinellas, you're paying that tax too. So you're paying twice.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch.
And it goes up every year.
So because assessments have gone up and they haven't changed the assessment value amount. So in other words, they take whatever your assessment is of your home.
Sure.
They multiply that by a factor.
X.
Yeah, it's like X plus Y and whatever because they take
math.
different. Yeah, it's math.
Friggin' math.
Again, I hate doing mortgages. So anyway, they do some math with it, and that rate though is, they can lower that, or the assessment you can't do much about because that's just market value, but they can change the rate that they charge, and of course, politicians are never going to take it down. They're only going to take it up.
Sure.
So, with the rise in home prices, it's really kicked people's taxes up. And the real problem is that it happens. So you buy a house, they're grandfathered in to a certain amount of rate that it can go up a year. So it can go up like 3% or something, and that's it. But when the housing market goes up 10%, well, when the next people buy the house and they're only paying $2,500 the first year, the second year when they reassess that house, it could double.
Jump.
Yeah, it's going to go up. And then your mortgage company isn't going to catch it the first time.
Right.
And so the second time they got to pay that bill, they're going to realize that your account is almost empty, and they're going to then ask you for a large chunk of money to put back into the escrow account so that they can meet their guidelines in order to pay your tax bill. And it's a problem. It's a big problem. It does suck.
I know a lot of people. One person in my family, and I don't know the specific details, so I won't fudge it. But something like that happened where it was like they thought one thing, and then the next thing you know, and I don't know if it was January 1st or when the hell it happened, but it was like, yo, you got to come to the table with a crap ton of cash right now.
Hey, can I ask you if it would have helped if your agent told you about that prior to?
It would have. Hell yeah, it probably would. I mean, you'd have to ask him, but yeah. And then that's the thing is I feel like there's a stigma about salespeople, right? Car salesmen, agents. So I hate to say it.
No, I knew you were going to say it second, because that is where seriously, that is kind of where we are on the scale. And you asked me, what do real estate agents do? What I just told you is what I do.
What you're supposed to do.
What I do as an agent is what you're supposed to do as an agent. I should be telling you what's going to go down with you when you buy this house. To so much certainty, but
right. Yeah, you don't have a crystal ball, but there's enough. We know this happens every single time. You don't leave anything out.
Right. And it's about, you mentioned I went through the process and I signed the paperwork and I don't know what I was signing. And if that's my thing, what do? We go through the process. If you have a good, thorough process that you replicate over and over and over and over again, then you don't miss those things. These conversations happen. You go from start to finish.
Sure.
I'm going to throw a little shade out to the consumer. Most consumers think because they have a lower opinion of salespeople and they think that that's what we are, that's what all we are. They think that they know how this process works better than we do.
Sure.
Even though, we sell 30 homes a year and they sell 0.
And they buy one
every 10.
Every 30. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It's your first home purchase and you're going to try to school me on it. Right.
Absolutely. And that's what it should be. That's the value proposition you're looking for there. So,
yeah, I hear you, man. It's tough. And honestly, too, when you get that stack of paperwork, whether you buy a car, you're buying a house, the Apple iTunes thing, I don't read that shit, Brian. I just accept because first off, it's written in such legalese. You have to have a degree just to read that, to understand what it says. Number one, and number two, it's like it's forever long. And ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we all just say yes. We all just say yes. Which another rule, going back to the rules. So storm damage rebuild rule. So if a hurricane wrecks your house, you can rebuild without new zoning headaches. So if you look at California, they had all those fires. I have some cousins that live out there. For all my California friends and family, tough times. Sucks. Know that here in Florida we get hit every year. We're thinking about you.
Yeah, for sure, man. But they got it tough there.
They got it tough. Earthquakes, fires, just a whole bunch of shenanigans.
Well, their process is so ridiculous.
And their taxes are nuts, man.
Well, right. And you would think if you're paying high taxes, you'd have a process that works.
Right.
But, I mean, from what I'm hearing out there, man, they can't build anything.
Right. Well, same thing. We're paying all these taxes. It's like, and I understand we don't pay state tax, but it's like US 19 over by our house, US 19 in Curlo, that's been under construction for 3 years, and will continue to be under construction for another 5. And I get that's where property taxes go and stuff like that's not where property taxes go.
No. So,
see, I told you I didn't know shit.
Yeah. So
drop it, Coop. What do we got?
Yeah. So I did want to touch on this because I felt like I was, throwing a bunch of shade to property taxes, and there is an upside. And I think that the way this is going to go down isn't going to be that you're going to stop paying property tax. I think that we're going to get some subsidy. I think that they're going to end up having to balance this out some way because our property tax do go for our local roads. They do go for our schools.
Yeah,
they
which
do
is important.
go for but these are county taxes. The other thing that our taxes go to here is things like our assessment office, our permit offices, and I got to be honest, man. In Pinellas, especially, we can do better. And I'll give you a little story. So in the last election that we had to elect our county supervisors and board members and all that stuff, well, the guy was in our It was in our district, and we were trying to get a permit for our cage. And nobody could find our stinking application.
When you say cage, you mean your pool?
Yeah, our pool cage.
Okay, so that's by the way, because do they have those in Virginia? I've never seen one being from California. Okay,
No,
so
not
people
really.
that don't know what a cage is, in Florida, we live in swampland. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you have a pool, if you're blessed enough to have a home with a pool, which you want, if you don't have a cage. All right, it's not just the mosquitoes; it's the leaves, it's the frogs, and they still get in there, by the way. But if you don't have one, forget about it. Forget about it. Anyway, so they couldn't find your paperwork for the cage.
Couldn't find, right? So, here we're paying all these taxes. We can't get anything done through the permit office. They can't find our application, none of that stuff. So I tracked down the guy that was in our district, and this was about a week before the election. And this is not the first time I've done this, by the way. I found him on Facebook, and first I went to his messenger to give him a little bit of a fair warning that I was coming. And I sent a message and was like, "Listen, man, I want to vote for you. I like your platform, but I can't even get a permit for my cage, and I can't, in good conscience, go and pull the lever for somebody that can't even get a simple cage permit through the process. Not to mention, I can't get anybody on the phone to get anything done." And I'll tell you what, man, less than 2 hours later, I had a message back. Then I had a text message. Then by Monday, because the election was Tuesday, my permit was approved.
Dude.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Power of a letter.
Imagine that.
Reach out to your local people, man. Hey, the power of the pen or the the digital ink, that'll do it.
Listen,
I want to go back real quick to cage because we kept saying cage. I didn't explain it. It's a screened-in area. It's not like a fighting cage. It's not chain link fence. It's not.
We call it the bird cage.
It's a bird. Yeah, exactly right. It's like a bird cage.
Yeah.
So I do. All right. Yeah, but good for you, dude. So progress.
Right, but again, those we pay county taxes for that reason, and those are personal property taxes. I do think I've always been a fan of this, and not just in Florida, but nationally. I don't believe in the income tax. I don't believe in the personal property tax. I think everything should be done through a consumption tax. I think that would help homeowners. One, two, I think it would give us, especially in a tourism area like we are now, other places, that may not work, but for us in Florida, it does.
Right. If I understand what you mean by consumption tax, you're talking about consumption tax on food, booze.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hear you. But what about the folks? What about the folks out there that don't own homes and now they're paying extra and this and that and the other thing?
Yeah.
So it's not. There's nuances there, right? Yeah. Is that it further makes a larger disparity between the haves and have-nots in a way.
It also gives them better opportunity to own a home. They're still not paying. They're still not paying property tax. That if we're subsidizing our property tax, there's still tax being paid.
Sure.
So yes, I would agree. There is some pain to that. But the idea really shouldn't be that we live in a world full of renters. I believe in our sovereignty. I want these people to own a piece of something for themselves and not to have to pay taxes on it.
Right, and believe that it's possible because it is possible.
It is, man. And listen, I'd rather pay an extra. This way, I think about it. If I go to Checkers and I spend $15, I'd rather pay an extra 4% on that $15. Then have to pay, 7% or thousands of dollars a year on my home. I think that it is much easier for a family to break up a consumption tax than to pay higher portions of rent. Because if the rent goes up,
sure,
it's not going to go up $29.
Right.
It's going to go up $50 or $100.
Right. Yeah.
It may only cost them $29, but they're going to profit off.
Yeah, when I was renting back, before I was married, the rental was like every year it would go up. I want to say $100 and $150. Like you paid for it for sure. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like we've been talking to you about, the second home. We want to find ourselves building that generational wealth. working our asses off for it too, man. Like it's scary, but it is possible.
I think the second one's tougher than the first.
You think the second home?
Yeah. I think the second home is tougher than the first.
Why is that?
Because the first, the one that you're living in, your primary residence, that one, that's something that there's a lot of, you don't need a lot of capital to get into. There's a lot less risk to it. Generally, there's going to be a longer term holding with that. But when you turn that first one into your second, like when you go buy your second one, what you're talking about is going out and buying something bigger for your family and turning the first one into a rental, right? Which some people do. The other side of the coin, what you're saying is I'm building my portfolio, right?
Sure.
So the other way to do that is to stay in your own property and to get something else to rent out right away. Well, you're already emotionally attached to your first one. And then you're going to give that up and you're going to go get emotionally attached to your second one.
Yeah.
And then you're going to turn your first one into an investment property, which means that you're, using your own capital now to get into your next home. Now, process wise, I think it's a little easier because you are going to use a primary residence mortgage. You've been in there long enough for it to make sense, and with capital gains and all that other stuff that go into that. By the way, that's the other thing your realtor should be talking to you about is the long-term effects of how this property, whether it's your first one or your fifth one, builds your portfolio and what leverage you have.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah. Because I have no idea even what he just said. I blacked out.
I know. I know. While he's on the internet, I'm ipso factoing those things.
Right. So. It's just too much adult shit, Brian. All right. Yeah. So, okay. So you're saying in a position like Pam and I, where, we have our house now, it's our first house. We've been there, 7 years. And we want to turn into a rental property. You're saying that it's going to be tough emotionally.
Yes, I think it's emotionally harder to do it, to do the second one than it is the first one. And then once you do that first one, I think it's
like tattoos. It's like a tattoo.
It's like the old Keller Williams model. It's like meow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think you're going to get a taste for it, and you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And being a landlord, and you're either going to continue to be a landlord and build that portfolio, or you're just going to keep that one. And be
one of my brothers has done this. His first house, he stepped in it, dude. In the crash, he picked up a house in Dunedin for like 70.
Nice. Things like.
And now that thing's worth quadruple.
Quadruple. It's
easy,
like tenfold, man.
Easy.
Probably.
And what he does, and then they bought in Snob's Landing. I call it Snob's Landing.
Snob's Landing, yeah.
Yeah, he bought up in that area. Yeah. But good for him. I'm not mad at him. But what he does is that he pays a company, and they get 10% of the rent, and they fucking deal with it. They evict, they maintain, whatever. He gets emails. It's very minimal touch points. I think I would adopt that methodology. It's worth 10% because I believe people too much.
Sure.
I'm a hard ass, but I'm not like in my heart though. I'm like kind of like, oh, dude, I don't want to hear a sob story, and not because I'm heartless, because I have a heart. I just can't.
It's tough to say. Listen, I don't care. I'm going to break your finger if you don't give me my money.
Right? Yeah. Go full Sicilian on them. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Okay, so we talked about the rental flood disclosure. Good. Yes, please. That? Yeah, please.
Real quick.
Yeah.
So that is the other reason that somebody like what I do. I have this software that I'll plug this guy because he's really cool, and he built a really good product. It's called Bright Investor, and I sign up to it. I pay that monthly subscription, and I put any address in that I want, and it gives me, it spits out like CapEx numbers and vacancy rates and things like that that need to go into your formula to see where your cash flow is. The one thing that most people do that kind of screws them up is they go buy a place assuming that the place that they're renting out is going to be a cash flow positive. Now with you, I know your situation, so I'm confident that that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
However, it may not be for others. And
Sure.
if you're doing it, like you said, that's 10% right off the top.
Right.
That means you only have 90% of your revenue to work with, and you still have to pay all of the other expenses. Again,
Right.
whatever capital expenditures you have, whatever HOA, whatever, maintenance, whatever, I account for a 7% maintenance budget and a 7% CapEx. And that's not including any 10% for a property manager
Sure.
or whatever.
Go back. What's CapEx when you say that? Sorry.
Capital expenditure.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're using lingo, and dude,
sorry.
I'm a dumb dodo.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make myself sound smart.
No,
It's just,
you're in the biz, dude. It's cool.
I'm envisioning the screen as we're looking at it, and CapEx is like right there.
Sure.
And
Sure. No, listen, I don't want you to stop. I want you to keep doing it. But twofold, the reason why I wanted you on the show is one, I love small businesses helping small businesses.
Yeah.
That's my jam. Number one.
too.
Number two is that I'm curious. There's stuff I don't know, man. And I know there's people out there that might act like they know stuff. Yeah, you don't know. I talk to people all the time, and it's like I'm less confused by talking to you. No, I'm more confused by talking to you, and I know less.
Here I just thought you wanted to have a cocktail and hang out. And write it off.
Well, that's three. Hey, listen, man.
That's what I'm doing.
I'm the king of writing shit off, dude. I love it. Hey, if the government, and it's not stealing, the government lets you do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's a good deal, man? I'm buying a house. What does that even mean? Is it relative, like a good deal? Is it a good deal to you? Is it a good deal to me, the buyer? Is it a good deal to you, the agent? Is it a good deal to the seller? Like, what truly is a good deal even mean in today's market? Like, what is that?
That is a great question. And I will tell you that I believe that that's relative to the individual. And, a good agent or a good even just salesperson of any type should sit down with their potential client and realize what their long-term goals are, realize what their vision is for whatever it is that they're doing. So in our case, we're talking about buying a house. So what's a good deal for Justin is not going to be the same as what's a good deal for Brian and Renee.
Right.
It's not going to be the same as a good deal for AJ, the trainer. It's,
Sure.
It's going to be different.
It's unique.
It is unique.
So because the vibe I get, and not because anybody said anything, but the vibe I get is that you just want to sell a house. You just want the commission dollars, agent Brian, and you're just trying to, and I know I'm using that. I know you're not like that, but that's the vibe out there. Is that like, this is just a person selling. This is a car salesman. He just wants to sell a car. He just wants to sell a house.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing you say is, no, you actually give a shit, and you're trying to get under the hood of why are you buying this house? Can you buy this house? What are your goals? And that's the difference that matters.
It is big time. I mean, listen, Florida has 220,000 agents, by far the most in America. And you can go and throw a rock and hit a real estate agent. And, congratulations. However, what we should be doing is sitting down and deciding with our clients what the best path is for them, giving them an education on what all of this stuff means, and putting that into a big picture for them. In Virginia, when I started working with first-time home buyers, and this was back in 2007. I got my first real estate license in 2007.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, buddy. Right before the crash.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because I had a twofold business, and I was a single agent. I was helping first-time home buyers, and I was helping people short sale because they were going to go to foreclosure. And if somebody didn't help, then they were going to be screwed. And I saw a need in both areas to put those things together.
Yeah, you can put a first-time home buyer and a house that maybe needed some upkeep, but ultimately you can get in there for a steal.
Or listen, just find them the right thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But when I first got in the business, there was a need, and I still believe that there's that need out there. And the need really is, listen, I want to see your vision for the future. How can we get there through property? So my taglines were, your realtor for life, right? Because I want to be accountable to you after this transaction. I want you to tell me how you like your house after a couple of years. I want you to tell me what's comfortable, what's uncomfortable, what we could have done better. I'm not afraid of feedback. I want my process to get better. Secondly, I wanted, it was your realtor for life. That was my tagline under my,
feels good.
Yeah, man.
Feels good.
But I meant it.
Right.
And all of those clients were were and are my clients from 20 years ago. I have people that call me now that I sold houses to in like '09 and still ask me questions about their third, the second and third house that we bought or other areas. Hell, they'll move out of town. They'll move out of state and they'll call me and say, "Hey, Brian, can you,
take a look at this?
Take a look at this." Or, "Hey, I've got this going on. What can I do?" And that's the kind of realtor that, that you should be. And second was building wealth through real estate. I really believe in that as well. I believe that, again, this goes back to a core belief that I have in our sovereignty. Owning property in America gives you sovereignty. It gives you a sense of yours. It gives you a sense of generational wealth. It gives you something to build on. But the question goes back to, what is a good deal in this market? Depends on where you are, and it depends on where you want to go.
Right.
Because for some people, it's not a good time to sell. And for others, it is. For some, it's not a good time to buy. For others, it is. It just depends on your situation. I can tell you this, though. Unless you sit down with a professional, you're always going to find a reason why not.
Sure.
And if I can get you to a reason why you want to do it, and we can walk that through in a place that you're comfortable and you feel good about it, you're going to be better off when I'm done.
That's a presidential answer right there, Brian. Nice job. I dig it. Talk to me about the
Brian
commission.
Cooper, 2028.
Yeah. Talk to me about the commission rules.
Oh, yes.
So how did it used to be? What is it now?
Okay.
Is it loaded?
No,
because it's changed, right? So if I understand it correctly, before the seller paid your commission.
That hasn't changed much.
Okay. So what has changed then?
Yeah. So, I've been waiting for a public platform to.
Here it is, man. If I can
get it done.
Velarde Digital, baby. Make it rain. Okay. Brian Cooper. Let's hear it.
Okay. So,
what does it mean?
For forever.
Okay.
Since I have known it, the seller has always paid commission because the money comes out of the equity in the home. Okay. So there was a time where we didn't have really buyer's agents. We had a seller's agent who would put the property on the market, and sometimes you had an agent, sometimes you didn't. That was the time when we were, writing contracts on the back of hoods and stuff like that. We don't do that stuff anymore. Thank God I wasn't around then. But buyer agency, transparent buyer agency started to come up in the 90s. And why? Because people felt like they weren't being represented through, just like you and Pam, didn't feel like you were signing stuff you didn't understand. You were trusting people with large sums of money in the biggest investment of your life. And, there was nobody there to help you through the process, because to pay a buyer's agent cost you a crap ton of money. The number one reason that people don't use the same agent the second time is because the agents don't follow up with them. And I believe that mentally, some of the reasons that they don't do that is because they're afraid to hear the feedback from their process.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so back to commissions.
Okay, so back to commission, right? Okay, so it was, buyer agency was created, and I think it was a good thing. It had equal representation on both sides. We put rules in place to where you couldn't, use the same agent to do one side or the other.
So double dipping.
Yeah, double dipping.
No double
we
dipping.
call that dual representation.
Yeah.
And frankly, I think that it was a brilliant system. Some lawyer, J.A., decided to go, make himself lots of money.
Those aren't his initials. You're trying to say jackass, but you don't want to say jackass.
Correct.
I'll call him a jackass.
Okay.
He's a jackass. Got it.
Let me tell you, the only person that won out of all of this is that guy. Okay. He got paid tens of millions of dollars. All of the rest of that money got split up in that class action, and people got jack shit for it. And now what you're finding.
Hold on. You won't say jackass?
I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up.
Okay, go.
And you know what really happened is the exact unintended consequence was the opposite of what they projected it would do.
Sure.
We've actually seen the expense go up, not down. And I'll tell you why. Because these dumbasses decided that it was smarter to not provide the data to people in a data age that tells you what commission other people paid. So,
like the comps of commission.
Correct. So what happened was, see, this guy, he decided he needed to make some money.
Yeah.
So he got some people together and he sued a bunch of other people. He found a lawyer who was a class action guy that could do it. And then they found a state that wasn't operating in the best possible way.
That would hear the case and side with the case. Yeah.
Exactly.
Shit,
and so,
snakes.
The sad thing is the changes that they made, the reasons that they got to where they've gotten to and the changes that they made already existed in Virginia and I think in Florida too. It already said in there, if the seller won't pay X and you're signed up for X, then you have to pay the difference of Y.
So you adopt that.
So
the buyer adopted it.
Correct. And it was always that way. Commission was always negotiable. And how do I know that? Because you have websites out there that'll let you put your home on the market for $500. There's people out there that were advertising for 15 years, 1% commission, 4% listing fee. I saw them all the time. To say that realtors were price fixing in real estate on commissions is got to be the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life. And I worked in a very cutthroat, competitive market outside of DC, some of the richest counties you'll ever be in.
Sure.
You can't tell me that those people aren't savvy enough to figure that out, and that people weren't cutting their rate to get $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 homes for to list 10 years ago, because it was happening all the time.
Right.
So,
okay. So then what did the law change then?
Okay. So what the law says now is that it is the buyer's responsibility to pay their agent, their buyer's agent, which in Virginia, it was always that way. And actually in Florida, it was always that way too. This is the part that I do like, because I have always operated like this anyway. It was how I was trained, and I think it's a good rule. Now, if you want to go see a house, you either have to sign an agreement that says, if you put an offer in on this house that I show you, I'm your agent.
I get the commission.
And the commission is X amount of dollars,
Sure.
and anything the seller doesn't pay, you pay.
So it's a fixed commission. It's not negotiable.
Well, it is negotiable at that point in time.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
But once you sign, somebody's paying this bill. Either you or him or both you guys.
Or you can reject the offer or withdraw your offer.
Sure.
So, again, this is another tactic.
Tactics.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you all that.
No, it's so snaky. No, we're here.
It's not
have
snaky.
another drink. Tell me everything.
Snaky. It's not snaky. It's smart.
Yeah.
It's smart. If you use the tax code, it's smart. If you use the contract, it's smart.
Yeah.
So one, that's the first change. I like that.
Sure.
I'm good with that. The second change is that you can't show what you're offering for a commission. Like if a seller wants to just outright offer 2.5% to a buyer's agent, we can't put that in the MLS anymore. You're taking away the ability of the seller to advertise their property in a manner that they want to. And I think that that's wrong.
Sure.
I also think that it's wrong to take a data point away from sellers when they're trying to evaluate how much money they're going to walk away with from a property. I think there are areas where commissions are higher because they're a low price point, and there are areas where maybe commissions are a little lower because they're a ridiculous price point.
Sure.
Stop watching HGTV, people. I'm telling you.
There's down payment assistance expansion, which is great. There's $50 million added for first responders, teachers, stuff like that. So essentially, if you're not rich, the state actually has your back a little now, that's good.
Yeah, they
That opens up
always
the
have.
market. Yeah, but it's nice to hear. It's a good political selling point.
Yeah. I don't know why we don't do TV ads as a state for that. I really think that we should, especially for.
We only do them during like political years,
right? Yeah, but those programs have been around for a long time, and the Heroes program is a great program to be a part of too.
So what's the Heroes program?
It gives money to first responders and
veterans,
veterans and things like that. There's a lot of different programs out there. Pinellas County has some housing programs too. Everybody kind of does, and you just got to dig into it a little bit and find out. And people think that that's the realtor's job to do. It's really not. It's the relationship that the realtor has with good lenders that know what these products are. I can't tell you who has them or how much they give you, but I can tell you right now, 3 people off the top of my head that could tell you off the top of their head.
Right. That you trust and use and respect.
Exactly. My job is a facilitator. I'm a problem solver. I'm getting you from A to B. We're meeting a goal together. I'm coaching you through the entire process. I'm setting you up for success, and I'm getting you on your way so that you can get ready for the next one. Right. That's what we do and who we are and who we should be.
Yeah. I feel bad because Pam and I, we're kind of window shopping. And you're sending me these listings, and we look at them, and then Pam's excited now, and how I know is that she's sending me Zillow listings and things like that, so I know that she's getting fired up.
Sure.
Let's take a break real quick.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah. So going back, I touched on it for a second, but what's the most important thing? Price, neighborhood, bones of the house. What? I'm looking at a house, right? Like, what am I looking for?
Okay, so
because we all start with price.
Well, right. So,
I start with price.
Most
Some people go
do.
with location. I think that's probably number 2.
Right. Most people go with price and location. Generally location is 1, price is 2. The old saying, location. Yeah, but I think in today's environment is price.
Yeah, but the other saying is drive until you can afford it, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So, in my process, we're already biting down price and location before we're walking in the door. Mm-hmm. Right. So, to me, condition is right after that. And I think one of the questions that you had asked me previously or sent me or something like that, what's the biggest red flag? Yeah. Oh, man. I thought about this a little bit because
qualify it. So I'm looking at a house. You're my agent.
Yeah.
And am I sending you listings? You're sending me listings. It's a combination of both. And what's a big red flag?
Yeah. So honestly, in today's day and age, yes, I'm going to be looking on, I'm going to be looking at what's out there, and if you're my client, and you're in that position to be ready to go, you're going to be on the front of my lobe, and I'm going to be looking at, possibilities that come up. But there's a very good chance that you're going to find that house online yourself and send it to me first. Why? Because you're looking at things at different times than I am.
Sure.
So when that happens, we go to the house. Okay, it's the right price, good location. We go to the house. What's the big red flag?
Yeah.
Big red flag for me, neglect.
Okay.
You can have an issue in a house. Every house is going to have an issue.
Yeah.
Most houses, 95% of the time, they're fixable. Not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. It can be done. It's neglect. If you know that there's an issue in your house. Be
specific, neglect. What do you mean? I will. Yeah.
If you know that there's an issue in your house and you don't fix it, the rest of your house is going to get affected by it. And I'll give you my latest example. I have a house who has a front door that's square, but the frame around it is failing on one side.
Okay.
There's also a tree root that's going underneath the front slab, like the front porch slab. And so the tree came down. The HOA took the tree down today, as a matter of fact. But the arborist looked at it and said, "This isn't a tree root problem. Something's failing in that frame. Something's failing." And I sent pictures over to the client and sent it over to my contractor and was like, "Hey, this tree's gone. Let's see what we can do about getting this in frame." They're ready to go forward with that. And he was like, something is looking like it's failing to me. Well, this has been a problem in this property for a couple of years. She's known about this. And unfortunately, she wasn't living there. She had other things going on. And listen, no shade to her at all. She, she's not in construction, but she also doesn't live there. And so she doesn't see it every day. It isn't right in front of her face.
Right.
And so it's easy to forget. But that neglect has probably caused some other issues.
Sure. It's like a can of worms situation.
Right.
And there's no way to know that so if I understand you correctly, if Pam sends you a house, Brian, and you're like, cool, yeah, let's go see it this weekend. They have an open house or they're taking, visitors. I don't know what the term is.
Sure.
But, and we go and check it out. Are you checking that shit before we get there, or are we walking it for the first time together? Like, what's that experience like?
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on when you send it to me, when you want to see it. If I've already seen it already, sometimes I'm walking there with you the first time too. And that's okay because I am still looking at those things. So just a couple of little key things that I like to look at.
Sure.
Hot water heater.
Yeah.
On the top of the hot water heater where the connections come in. If there's rust around there, I'm red flagging that.
Red flag.
I'm thinking red flag.
Red flag.
When we're on the outside of the house, if I can see any kind of watermarks along the basin of the house, it means the grading's not good. Red flag.
Red flag.
Red flag.
Well, actually, in Florida too, some people use well water, and so the sides of houses are fucking orange, and the sidewalk's orange. I hate that.
Yeah, I mean,
what are you gonna do? Orange flag.
Treat your well water. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anyway, but yeah. All right. What's other red flag?
It could be any. So here's my big pet peeve.
Yeah.
If I go into a house and it's for sale and it's got carpet in it and the carpet looks like absolute dog, and it tells me that those folks don't care how they live and therefore don't care about their home.
Right. The bones.
Well, right. It means if there's a drip in the sink, it's probably not going to be fixed. They're gonna put a Band-Aid on it. The other thing is hairy homeowner crap. If I walk out, so this is a Virginia thing because it doesn't happen. Well, maybe it happens here, but I got familiar with the code for how to build the decks, right, in the townhomes and the 3 and 4 story homes in Virginia. So I would walk out there and I would just look. And I would, just look up and see, I knew how many. So you had to have like 4 screws in this one place, and you had to have the bolts go through, and they had to be a certain size.
Sure.
And you had to have 2 boards around the post.
Sure.
So I knew that stuff, or it had to be a notched post if it wasn't. So right. I knew that stuff, and I would go out there and I would see that it either wasn't done right, or I'd see some hairy homeowner patio that was put in, or I would, and that stuff scares me. And so, again, I'm not a contractor, right? I'm not, but I am a homeowner. And I know that when I peel those onions, and the more you peel that onion, the windows were huge for me. If I saw the failing window, so you go to those sliding glass doors and you can see the condensation in the middle of the panes.
Yeah.
That means that the seal has failed on those windows and the argon gas has gone out.
Right.
And so now there's really nothing between there. It's just light penetrating through. Well, if if all of the windows were like that, or if there was like one whole row of windows like that, I knew before I ever walked in the door that that house was going to look like crap, because they were willing to allow something like that to get that bad without doing anything about it. The rest of the house was going to be disappointing.
For sure. Okay. So that's
neglect.
Neglect is the biggest red flag.
Biggest red flag.
Got it. There's a lot of flip houses out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, shoddy work done DIY. And to be fair, we did a lot of stuff ourselves at our house. We did our own floors. Okay. We did our own floors.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, a couple of other things. We did contract out for bathroom renovations. Our pantry, you know, me and my wife's dad's friend from Canada, our northern buddy Andy, he's rad.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is all, dude. And he was like, helped me frame this whole, because we had like this little accordion style, like 6-inch deep pantry. Right. How do you know if this is actually, I'm telling on myself a little bit. How do you know if someone's just browsing with zero intent to purchase soon? Probably
the easiest one, because they don't go through the process. You know, they're not taking the next step. And so I am very adamant about going through the process. And everybody is a window shopper until they're not. And that's the way you have to treat them. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. You can window shop, Justin. You and Pam can window shop as long as you want. When you're ready to build some wealth and you're ready to get down to it, then you come to me and talk to me. I don't think that people should rush into this, and there are agents out there, or there are people out there that will tell you, don't waste any time, man. Get out. Oh my God, you got to do it today. Don't do that, man. Like, you don't need to. So for me, a window shopper, you're not, you know, before I'm going to open the door for you to go see a property, we need to have a buyer's consultation or a seller's consultation. Mm-hmm. We need to agree to work with each other.
Sure.
We need to agree on what the vision is and how we're going to get there. And then we need to put all that in writing. We need to get you qualified with a lender if you're a buyer. And then we can open some doors for you, because there is no reason to open doors for you and start seeing things that you really want, and just to find out that you can't do it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. If we got qualified for lending, how long, so for example, if you go to buy a car and you get, and you're financing through a credit union or a bank, it's good for 30 days. Is it the same thing with buying a house?
No.
So for example, if Pam and I went and we got qualified tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. But we weren't ready. We're not looking to buy for 90 days, 6 months or whatever. Not cool. Cool. It does work.
No, I think you should do that.
Should do it.
I
think you actually did tell me to do that, and I didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm
That's
window
how
shopping.
I knew. Right. Exactly.
Well, because
my point.
Because can I tell you this something?
Yeah.
Like, guys and gals are different. All right. I'm fine with the house that we have. More than fine.
Sure.
Is it perfect? No. Could we use more room? Yes. Our kids are getting bigger? Sure. So yes to all those things. But I don't need a pool. I don't, there's a lot of things I don't need. And so therefore, like, my wife needs a strong word. My wife has wants, right? And that's fine. And so we won't buy a house until she's ready to buy a house. And when she's ready to buy a house, it's going to happen fast. But here's the kicker. She's, if we're not set up to buy a house, right, the house she finds is going to be gone because we're not set up. We got to go through the process. And so if I'm hearing you right, it's like, go through the process, get pre-approved, do all that stuff on the second house. So that way, when she does find the house, get her done.
Yeah. And okay. So in your situation, 100%, I would say, listen, go talk to the lender. It doesn't matter whether he writes you a qualification letter for today that's good for 90 days or 120 days or 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Go through and see where you are, see what it's going to take to get you where you need to be or where you want to be. And that means, look at your payments, look at, be financially or mentally prepared for that financial change in your life. We should, we can pull comps on your house, which we're going to need to do. Again, you're not in a first-time homebuyer situation or even a move-up buyer. Yours is going to be more complicated. Yeah. This is why the second one is the toughest one, because we have to prepare your portfolio to produce so that you can show that production and qualify for what you are looking for, what your wife is looking for, so that you can meet that goal. Yeah. There's no reason to make a lateral move. You're making an upward move.
It is, we're jumping up. I need to backpedal a little bit. I do want a new house.
I know you do.
But hold on. But it's not here's why I don't want a new house. Can I just tell you? You have 2 kids. Our kids are the same age. For those that don't know, Brian and I, how we met, our children went to the same pre-K, and then we started chatting. He's rad, I'm rad, and rad dudes gravitate towards each other. So
we're badass.
We're pretty badass and humble.
And Gen X.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so, but dude, I look at a bigger house and I go, fuck, man, there's going to be toys everywhere. And maybe it's the wrong attitude to have, but there's shit all over my house, man. There's like toys over here and coloring things over here and the paper airplanes that don't fly over there. And I love my children, but not all this stuff, not everything they make is good. And not everything they make deserves to be on the fridge. Right. None of that. That's crazy talk. I'm not trying to I'm raising soldiers, dude. Like, I'm not raising.
So let me ask you, wouldn't it be better to have a spot where when they come home, they know they take their stuff to that spot and only that spot?
Yeah, but they have that now and they don't do it.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. And that's just bad parenting.
Maybe it needs to be a room.
Yeah. It's just one. It just feels to me it's just like one more room. Maybe that's a bad reason. So is there a question or a phrase that's a red flag from a potential buyer or seller?
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Oh, yeah. So again, working in Northern Virginia, a very diverse culture up there. I worked with a lot of different nationalities and ethnicities.
Sure.
Some of them like to bargain with you a lot. Mm-hmm. And the one that I used to hear before all of this stuff with the commissions and all that, which, by the way, we can get into more in the future, was how much are you willing to give me? How much of your commission are you willing to give to credit to me? I used to hear that in my career, in my younger career, and my answer was always 0. And
Sure.
I thought you were a nice guy. I might have given you a break, but now I'm going to negotiate harder with you. And oh, by the way, don't you want somebody that negotiates his own dollar? Because if he doesn't, how's he going to negotiate yours?
Right, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, how the turns have tabled, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, though? The sad thing is there's 220,000 agents in Florida. There are agents out there that are willing to do that. And sadly, we have people out there that don't understand how big of a deal it is to buy and sell homes, and that having a professional on your side is just ultimately important to keep you out of trouble and to get you on the right path. So yes, there are a lot of agents out there, but there are people that are willing to cut their commission. If they're willing to cut their commission, they're willing to take shortcuts for you, on your behalf too. Sure. And I don't agree with that. I think that we have a work.
You have ethics and morals and integrity.
Yeah, and I have a passion for my business.
Sure.
I have a passion for my industry. I hate the fact that people think of us, where they do, and I think we can be better than that. And I think we have to hold the line to that. And frankly, if you don't think that much of me to pay me my commission, then I don't really. I'm not going to do a good job for you. I'm not. I'm going to hold that over you the whole time. I am. And it's just not a good fit. Just not.
It's not a good relationship.
It's not.
Yeah.
This is a relationship.
That's business. Not the agent for life relationship that you're trying to.
Yeah. Oh, agent for life, and I'll cut my commission by 1/3. No, thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pam's Asian for life. So I got that going for me.
That's good.
All right. So what's the weirdest request you've ever had, like on a contract from somebody?
Oh man. Man, that's a tough one because I have had some strange stuff in my time. One was a garage door opener.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what the hell that noise is. That's your hand. Okay.
One was a garage, not the clicking garage door opener, like the whole.
Oh, like the chain, the light, the whole bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a sensor at the bottom and it wasn't calibrated and it was the day of closing and
like the don't
little
crush me sensor, like the laser that goes
the little and it just wasn't lined up and
sure.
He
cares?
like refused to close on this property unless that was fixed and
gone out there with a screwdriver and just adjusted it. Well, like who cares?
So but I can't do that.
You can't do that.
I can't do that. I'm not a contractor. I'm not
because the homeowner could do that.
Right. But he was present. The buyer was present.
Oh, God.
I can't do that. The homeowner can't. The homeowner can do it, and make it work and then be like, hey, you can come back now. But, I can't do that stuff. I'm not a contractor. I don't,
if it fails, God forbid something happens.
Fails and it hits his car.
Yeah.
And,
now you're liable.
Now I'm liable.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Got it. So
but
because that wasn't
there's been more. We've had septic tanks dug up for ridiculous reasons, and it turned out it was fine.
Wait, go on. So because there was a smell? Like, why would you what are reasons to dig up a septic tank?
So this one was out in the middle of a property in Percival, and this is, like horse country, Virginia. And there was puddling of water. Granted, it was in the middle of, summertime and it rains and you're in hill country, down the valley. And anyway, so we had to give them an extension for the inspection time. So, we had like 7 days or something, and we had multiple offers in this property prior, but we're under contract. And man, you lose a contract on something for inspection. It sucks going back to those people and being like, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't choose your contract the first time, but here's your chance. They're like,
go eat it. Yeah,
right.
Eat one.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, we're like, all right, fine. So they came and they dug it up. And in the addendums in Virginia, it says in there that if any damage is done, then the buyer is responsible for making it whole. Well, they dug up the septic tank. There's nothing wrong with it, just like we figured.
It's just raining during the summer.
It's just raining during the summer. It's in the valley, it's in kind of a valley plain right there. There's like a stream on the other side, it just,
and this happens.
And this happens, I can't say anything. I'm not a contractor. I'm not
Yeah, but follow your nose. Does it smell like shit?
Right. And this is the sad thing. It's everything was downhill on that property. So, I mean, the seller had told them, if there's something wrong with the septic, like we don't see it and we're not paying for anything to be fixed. So if you screw something up when you dig this up, you're going to fix it and make it work properly again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cost you.
So it's going to
cost you for the dig up, and it's going to cost you for anything you jack up while doing this. Yeah.
Exactly. So
did they end up buying the house?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, well.
They did.
There's that.
Ended up, I got it to closing because I can get them to closing.
Yeah, I closed, man.
I closed.
B-Coop the closer.
Listen, this is my thing. I don't like getting under contract unless I think it's a closable property.
Sure.
So I will advise my buyers or my sellers, like, hey, I'm not sure about this. This one doesn't smell right.
Yeah. Feels like red flag.
Red flag.
Red flag. I'm going to do a lightning round. You ready?
All right. Yeah, let's go.
Comes. All right.
Yeah.
Red flag. Have you ever forgotten or heard a story or seen an agent forget to submit an offer on a house?
Yes. Several times.
You've done it.
No, not me.
Okay.
No. I've written contracts. Like I've left wherever I was, went in the car, pulled up my laptop, written the contract, sent it out, sent a text from the car, make sure you have it, gone back in, and, like it was dessert time with 10 people at the table. But I didn't care. It didn't matter to me. I had to get it done. It was that competitive of a market. I was used to doing it. It was no big deal to me. I built a lifestyle around that. But I have seen that. And the worst.
How does that happen?
Oh, I'll tell you how. So there was a either Whitekurt or Century 21 agent, really competitive property, great property in Sterling. It was like 800 grand. I had the listing.
Pause. What does it mean when you say you had the listing?
It means I was the listing agent. And
so if you're the listing agent, there's no other listing agents?
No, all the other agents are for the buyers. I represented the seller.
Okay, now I understand.
Yep. So I'm listing the house. I represent the seller.
You're the listing agent.
Correct.
See, I told you we're all going to learn something, mostly me. All right, so you're the listing agent.
So anyway, man, I've been telling this dude for a week, no, you can't come see it early. The property's going on the market on Thursday. You can book, but we're going to go through the weekend. We're going to do an open house. My client, yes, he wants to sell it, but he knows he has a good product. We're priced really well. We expect that we're probably going to get multiple. Oh, no, man, I'm telling you, dude, my offer, nobody's going to be better than this. Okay, well, send it. Stop calling me, send it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in my inbox, let's go.
Yeah.
So
talkie. No more talkie.
No more talkie. talkie, penguin.
Yeah.
So,
send the offer.
So,
good for you, Coop. That's great.
So, this guy, like, we get all these multiple offers, right? All weekend long. I think we ended up with like 5, 6, 7 offers, something like that. And he was like, well, my client knew that you weren't going to accept anything over the weekend, so we were going to wait. Well, we accepted something Sunday night. We got one that was just too good to be true, and we had told everybody, send your offers in as soon as possible. We'll make a decision. Well, we made a decision, and he was like, man, I was going to send it in Monday morning. It's like, dude, I've been talking to you since Wednesday. What are you doing? I mean, I had it signed. I told him just to wait until the morning until I talked to you. I was like, well, that was a bad move.
Yeah.
Sorry. You
busted. Sorry.
You made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm. And they lost, and it sucks. And I feel bad for him, but that's a lesson that he needed to learn. He was trying to play a game that he wasn't prepared for. All he had to do was tell his clients, listen, there's going to be multiple offers. Put your almost best foot forward. Right? Leave a little bit on the table for me because they're going to ask us for our highest and best. I need to know what your threshold is. Let's submit that offer and let me build a relationship with this agent and see if there's something there that we can offer them that other people can't. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. But he didn't do that. He was
fucking off.
He was fucking, he was playing this like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to call him. I'm going to wait. I'm going to call him.
Yeah, he was trying to.
I'm going to call him. Like, you're not going to get in the front of the line,
It's not Shark Tank, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here. Buy the house, don't buy the house.
Stop watching HGTV.
For sure, dude. Okay, so let me ask you this question, and maybe this is giving away some trade secrets. When it comes to concessions, when we go to buy the house that Pam's going to pick out, what can we ask? What can the average person ask for? That's like, okay, that's reasonable. And then what's the thing? It's like, dude, you are high on some otherworldly drugs. What are they?
That depends on how the property is priced. So I know this is, I'm doing a Trump here, and I'm gonna take a tangent.
Sure.
A listing price is a marketing tool. Okay. Yes, you may want to get X amount of dollars for your home, but there are 2 paths to get there. You can list it higher than that price and hope you get one person to negotiate down to what you want, or you can price it a little below and try to work your value up, right? Or you can price it right on.
Right.
So when you ask what kind of concessions can we count on, or what's asking too much, I would say that is dependent on how the property is marketed how it's, the price that it's listed for and the market that it's in. We need to look at those as a strategy per property. And that's why it's important to go back even further to know what your capabilities are. Do you need concessions? And if you do you need 3% concessions? Because some products out there only allow 3% from a lender. Some products allow 6% from a lender. Some, higher down payments allow you a little bit more. But I would say that your max amount is going to be 6% because that's what a lender is going to allow, depending on how much money you put down and the lender program.
Sure. What's the minimum amount of money today you can get into a house for?
0.
Really?
Sure.
Huh. What's that mortgage look like?
It ain't going to be cheap monthly, but if the question, sometimes the question isn't how much money I have per month, it's how much money I have right now. There are lots of people out there that make a really good salary that don't have those debts that you talked about earlier and can afford a higher payment.
Sure.
They just need to get in the game. Once they get in the game, then they can figure the next step out.
Yeah.
The first purchase is always your most expensive. My first interest rate was like 7.25%. It was an interest only loan, and I paid like $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
But I had roommates. I figured it out.
Sorted it out.
I sorted it out.
So what does interest only loan mean?
It means
Sorry. What does that mean?
it means that every time you make your payment, you're only paying the interest on it, and that only lasts for a little while, and then you get kind of a new payment that has principal and interest.
So they're saying, hey, yeah, we'll get you in this house, but you're going to pay us a shit ton first before you even touch the principal of this house.
What it's really saying is like, hey, we'll get you in this house to qualify you. We'll just qualify you on an interest only payment. And then 5 years down the road, well, maybe that's not even true. I guess they would qualify you on the full payment, but it gives you a little bit of reprieve. And listen, I know a dude that I've known for like 15 years. He owns a place out in Lowe's Island, which is in Sterling. Great little townhouse, single guy, never been married. Just him. And he bought that place for probably $220, something like that. He's never paid a dime towards his principal. Never. He's always had an interest-only loan, and then when the interest-only is getting ready to come up, he does it again. And the reason is because...
Interesting strategy.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
There's a win in all of this.
Okay.
Okay, so every month he pays a payment, right? And it's his primary residence. So all of that is one interest payment. Well, he gets to deduct that. He makes a crap ton of money, so therefore pays a crap ton of taxes. So he writes off dollar for dollar all the interest that he pays on his home. So he's living for nothing, right? He's crediting himself every month, and the value just keeps going up on his home, and he's never paid a dime into the place. He's never had to pay towards the principal. He's written off every bit of interest, and now it's worth.
This seems like an outside of DC type of fucking behavior.
Exactly, and it's worth about $300,000 more than he originally bought it, and he hasn't done shit.
Yeah,
he hasn't done shit.
Yeah,
right.
And he's gonna sell it and make a fucking killing.
Again,
and he'll pay capital gains.
No, he won't, because it's his primary residence.
Get out. See, hear that? It's those little things that are the secret to true wealth. And it's not stuff they ever taught us in high school.
Yeah.
It's not stuff they teach you in college, clearly.
Yeah. Dude, he's got $250,000 he can work with in that house without paying a dime. And that's before he writes off any improvements that he's made, plus all of the, all the other shit on top. I mean, listen, he can probably leave there at $500,000 worth of profit and not have to pay capital gains if he does it the right way. Single guy. Single guy. He's basically just been living rent free, letting the, government pay for it. Everybody else is paying taxes. He's just making his money and writing it off.
Hey, man.
Smart guy.
Legal.
Yeah. Smart guy. Love him, man.
Yeah. It's not illegal.
Jerry's the man.
It's shitty.
Hey, Jerry, go Caps.
Let me ask you this question. It's a similar question I asked to an accountant friend of mine. If you have an accountant, breaking up with your accountant, it's tough.
Just did it.
It's tough.
It is. I love my accountant.
Yeah. What happens if your agent is trash, man?
I think you just have to be honest with them, and not in a degrading way. But if it's not working for you, if they're not giving you what you need, you just need to be straight up. Don't let it fester. Just say, listen, man, we're going to go a different way. It's not the right time for us. Or it's not the right situation for us.
Yeah, our agent was sour ass before we went with my cousin. He was pissed. He showed us a bunch of houses that were shit.
Yeah.
They weren't what we asked for, what we're looking for, et cetera, et cetera. And he just and even about my cousin, Pam found the house we're in.
Right. Well, and I know that sticks in your craw because we've talked about that.
Yeah. It bothers her, so I have to be bothered by it.
Sure. But I will tell you that
you're married, right? You get how it works. Like I'm offended.
100%.
She's offended. I'm double offended because of her.
Right. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I really think in today's day and age, I'm going to back that up. In today's day and age, it is not uncommon for you or Pam to find the home through your search before your agent and send it over to them. And I have to give agents a little bit of credit when it comes to this. There was a time where agents could be ahead of that game, but that's no longer the case. When it goes up, it goes out so fast and syndicates so quick that you can get an alert on your phone. No longer do real estate agents control that information. And I'm glad they don't, because I think our service is better for it. It is okay for you or Pam to see a house and say, hey, I really like this. Can can we set up a showing? Absolutely. But the rest of it is on us. That means that, we need to make the calls and find out what the scoop is, get the backstory, talk to the agent, find out what the criteria is. I mean, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So I think finding the right property and going into properties, it's okay to collaborate on those things. What's not okay is if you send me a property or I send you a property knowing that it doesn't meet your criteria and me not saying something about it. If I know it's a real crap hole already, if I've called the agent and the situation just isn't right, they need to close this time and you're not ready, or vice versa, or, it's a fixer-upper and that's not what you're looking like, but the pictures look great, that's different.
Yeah. So how do you break up with an agent then? You just tell them?
Just tell them.
And then with the new paperwork, there's no there's no weird rules where I owe you money because you showed me some houses?
Well, that depends. That's in the contract. In your buyer's agent contract, you'll sign that up front. They'll be, again, all negotiable. I do think depending on, so I've always done this. The buyer's agent contract has been part of my business since 2007. This is how now new to Florida that they require it. Virginia always required it. So
Sure.
I spent my whole career having the same conversation.
Sure.
Yes, there could be an early, we'll sign a 6-month contract that says that I'm your agent. You can fire me anytime within then. And in that contract, there could be an amount that we agree to for early termination. $200, $500.
Yeah, because you got to pay. You got to get paid for what you're doing. It can't just be commish.
But it is. I mean,
Yeah.
You're not going to get somebody to sign like, hey, if you terminate with me early, you're going to owe me $2,000. I mean, you spend 6 months of your time with somebody, is it, $2,000 doesn't cover shit, I mean,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really matter if they're not doing their job and they're not making you happy. This is a commission job. These people choose to do this work. They have to know that going into it. And that's not on the client. If you're unhappy and the agent can't get that out of you and talk with you through what's going on, or if you're unwilling to tell the agent because there's some kind of barrier there, that
friction or whatever
it is, then it's just not a good relationship, and you got to move on. And frankly, if I think have I fired anybody before? I don't think I've fired anybody. I've only been fired once in my career, and F that guy anyway. I worked my ass off to get that contract, and it was his slow, dumb ass that didn't that didn't give me the paperwork when I wanted it.
Yeah.
And he lost by $1,000. And I asked him specifically before he submitted that. I was like, listen, man, is it worth $2,000? Is it worth $2,000 to lose this out? This is all I'm going to pay for it. Okay. You lost.
Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah.
Sorry, not my fault.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you just got to do it, man. Just got to rip the Band-Aid off.
Open houses.
Yeah.
Do you like doing them?
I used to love doing open houses.
What kind of snacks you putting out on those things?
I don't really do the snacks, dude.
You don't do it?
No, man.
You don't.
I'm not here for you to hang out and party. I'm here for you to walk the house. And, this is this is business time for me. This isn't football time. Like,
my business sucks. Huh?
Yeah, man. Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
I'm here in uncomfortable clothes when I should be sitting on my couch watching football. Like,
Sure.
And I do think that the times have changed a bit. Open houses aren't as prevalent as they were when I first started. I never put that crap out I had very successful open houses.
You ever have somebody come in an open house and just blow up like one of the bathrooms and just like, or
Dude,
something horrible?
I did.
Yeah.
Let
me hear it. All right. You did it?
No, I didn't do it. No, I didn't do it. No.
All right. So what happened?
I have a rule about that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't an open house. It was a showing, and I had showings behind that showing. So I didn't find out until the second showing.
Ooh,
the agent called me, and I was like, okay.
Somebody went in there and just pooed it up, huh?
And the water was like to the top or whatever,
no.
So, and it was gross. And yeah,
dude, we went to a showing one time, man, with the guy.
People do some nasty stuff. And again, I blame the agent that was there with them that didn't coach them and tell them, hey, we don't use the bathrooms.
Yeah, we're guests. We're guests
here. Exactly.
Have some
100%.
Have some class.
Right.
We went to the same guy that we fired. The first agent we had took us to this place in Clearwater, this house, and it was like a Saturday or Sunday, and we walk in, and the homeowner's not even home, but all the kids are, and they're like teenage kids. The whole house smelled like weed, and like current weed. There, I kind of remember like the sunlight. I could see the sunlight pouring through the window. Like there was a haze, bro.
Oh, been there, dude.
Which I'm not against marijuana, but it's like it was off-putting. It was off-putting.
Yeah.
Not even if we liked the house, which we didn't. But the house was kind of like, dishes in the sink, kids fucking, blazing weed and hanging out in the living room. It was just, it didn't say, hey, buy me.
I wonder if it was owner occupied or tenant occupied. Right.
Oh, it was, I think it was owner occupied.
Yeah, well.
But even still, I'll tell you another story. When Pam and I were renting in Gulfport,
why did your agent take you to that property?
Which is why he wasn't our agent anymore. He took us to a couple properties, not that same exact thing, but that was kind of like his style. Was he was bringing us to houses that weren't ready for us, number one. Number two, he was bringing us to houses that didn't really fit the shit that we wanted, Pam, things we wanted, right? And so we ended up buying. I'll tell you that off air. We ended up buying a house in a really interesting neighborhood. Like the backstory of it, it's funny.
So what was the red flag in that house? What was the we talked about this.
Dude, so many.
Neglect. Everything was neglected. They neglected their dishes.
Yeah.
They neglected their cleanliness. They neglected their upkeep.
Yeah, it was like they didn't know anybody
and
was
what did
coming.
the agent do wrong? He neglected your needs. He neglected to call. You know,
listen,
why would you even bring you into that house? Why would you walk through that house?
100%. Just as a human being,
exactly.
I would have popped my head and been like, "Hey, this ain't the house for us. We're leaving. Don't even 100%. Walk because we walked through that house.
Why? Well,
because you trust the agent. You trust the process. We're new at this.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Dude, when we were renting in Gulfport, our landlord, when we were there for a little over, almost 2 years, but after year one, she was actively showing the house, but all the tenant rights, it was like, hey, tomorrow or Wednesday, or whatever,
you have to
advance notice.
Yeah, all that's fair.
And we weren't slobs anyways. We didn't have any kids, so it was just us. It was just us, and Pam worked in the hospital, and I was working in production or whatever, so it was fine. But yeah, and we met the realtor, and we were like, "Hey, how are you?" And she's like, "Oh, you guys are always so sweet. The house is always so clean." She actually thanked us a shit ton for like, "Hey, man, this place always looks great." And I was like, "Yeah, no shit," because like, I don't like people coming to my house when it's gross anyway. Let alone you're trying to sell this shit. Like, I'm gonna make sure you can sell it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think it has to do with like upbringing and ethics and everything else.
Yeah, of course.
So going back to showings, somebody blew up the bathroom.
Yeah.
My two questions are this. One, is it true if someone died in the house, you have to notify the buyer, but the second time it's sold, you don't? Is any part of this true?
I believe so. I believe that's the case. So it's different in different states and different localities. So, if there was a biohazard in there, it needs to be disclosed and cleaned up, and you give those receipts to the new buyer. Well, in Virginia, we used to call that, hey, it's a corrective, it's been corrected. Good to go. You wouldn't have to disclose that a second time. I believe that's true in Florida as well. So I was showing homes to a really good friend of ours, and they saw one that they liked, and we went into it and looked pretty good, but I could tell that it had some new, carpet, stuff like that. She Googled it, and turns out somebody had passed away. Somebody died in there, and it wasn't in the listing. It should have been in the listing. Of course, it makes me look bad as the buyer's agent because I don't Google every property. I go to the MLS and I pull the tax record, and I
and then sometimes that shit doesn't come up.
Exactly. But anyway.
But do you Google properties now?
So what I do is I put as soon as they give me, like they send it to me, I put it in Google first to see if it's listed syndicate. And in that, I'll go over to the little news feed and hit the news feed and see if there's anything in there.
Yeah.
But that's as far as I can.
Yeah. But you're not sure about the second half of that, though. It's like, so.
Yeah, I think after the second, once you disclose it.
If I buy a murder house, I don't have to sell it as a murder house. I
don't believe so, because it's not a murder house anymore.
Yeah. Now
it's just
changed hands.
Yeah, it's changed hands.
Yeah.
And it's not been
not
corrected.
Relevant. Yeah, it's not relevant.
Right. Right. I mean, there was
I feel like it's pretty fucking relevant, though. I'd want to know if
to me, the only reason they did that was the biohazard. You had a biohazard in there. It had to be cleaned up. You should.
Nah, dude, there's bad juju all in the house.
I mean, that's a religious thing, and you can't be doing it like that. Bring your priest.
Yeah. Sort it out. Yeah. Sort it out. Yeah. Have you ever been into a house, you walked in and you thought it was haunted?
Not.
Oh, let me ask that a question again because my throat was haunted. Yeah, dude. So seriously though, like, I don't know if you believe in that kind of stuff, but you ever walk in a house and feel like the juju's off and it's haunted?
Not that it's haunted, but I've definitely felt the juju's been off. Yeah, I'm not big into the ghost thing.
Sure.
You know,
Okay.
I'm, Holy Ghost and the Spirit and the Lord, and I'm all for it.
Those are the only three you subscribe to.
I mean, listen, Jesus is my savior, and the demons can go F themselves. I'm not going to see him anyway. So, whatever. But yes, I have walked into houses and felt like, not, but generally no. I maybe once or twice, and like I think Old Town Leesburg, there was one. There's maybe one out in like Percival, or no, it wasn't Percival. It was Hamilton, out in Hamilton. Old farmhouse or whatever. I mean, dilapidated and not livable. But I mean, generally
nothing worth note.
Nah.
Seriously, last question. So Florida's hot in real estate or not in real estate? And what's hotter, Virginia or Florida?
So I don't consider it that way. I think they have different markets for different reasons. Virginia is still, I believe, a seller's market in most cases. You do need to price it correctly. I think the problem we have right now is that people still think it's 2021 on the seller side, and the buyers know that it's 2025, and getting them to meet in the middle. In Florida, I think they're again 220,000 agents. I think because of some of the new laws, some of the things that we've done in Virginia the whole time that Florida is adapting to having to do now. We're going to lose some of those agents. I think that between that, the condos finally getting to some stability, the buyer's market that it is in condo world, I think give it 6 months, it's going to be a hot market. With interest rates come down a little bit, I think you'll see a perfect storm of inventory, lower prices and better affordability, safer condos, as well as lower interest rates. And there you go. To me, that's a good recipe for buyers that want to come down here and take advantage of that. So I think the Florida condo market, while it's struggling right now, there's going to be some good opportunity. And as far as the single family home market, I think we'll be just fine. Really, we're at a balanced market right now. If interest rates go down, there is a potential to take it back down to a seller's market, because we still, I mean, man, right where we're sitting, Pasco County is blowing up. I think I sent this link to you. There's like 10 big projects going on in the next 10 years in this county that's going to draw in a different class of worker. And there's going to be some regentrification going on in this area. They're already building new neighborhoods. They're already, people are already buying these homes and fixing them up. And I think it's a good thing for this county. And I think it's a good thing for the surrounding counties. And I think if you want to come and be a Floridian and, you want good opportunity, I think that Pasco County and Pinellas County are ripe for those opportunities.
Yeah. My only issue with the new builds in this county versus Old Bones and Palm Harbor, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Property.
What do you mean by property?
Get way more. You're not up your neighbor's ass. Up here, those houses are.
They are.
They're sandwiched between each other.
They are.
And that's, I hate that. It's like you could literally pass sugar to your neighbor through the window. It's like apartment living, even though they're houses, they're like, I don't like it.
So the contrast to that is finding a piece of land in Pasco to build your home on now. Like, let's say you find an acre of land or half an acre of land and you buy a home on it now. If half a mile or 2 miles down the street, they build a big planned unit development, well, your property value goes up. Why? Because everybody in that neighborhood is going to be on 0.2 of an acre and be able to pass the sugar, and they'll move there because people like that stuff. But your house that's going to be right down the road, that's got a bigger plot of land, that's got, maybe something a little more custom, something a little bit more open, is going to be worth more too. A rising tide raises all boats.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm talking about here. You don't have to be in the neighborhoods to take advantage of the rise in value of what surrounds those neighborhoods. Builders don't invest in counties and places that they don't feel confident are going to be better off in 10 years. And the amount of builders you have that are coming into this county and buying up plots of land and putting in PUDs, man, all that stuff is good for schools. It's good for roads. It's good for all your surrounding
What
area.
was this word you used? PUDs?
PUDs, planned unit developments.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
And that's why you have a Brian Cooper on the show.
There you go.
You hear some shit.
Don't be a PUD whacker.
Yeah, don't be a PUD.
Call me.
Well, listen, man, I learned a lot more than, not a lot more than I expected. I learned a lot, and I appreciate you coming. It's good stuff. I still don't think I really understand what escrow means, and that's not your fault. I'm kind of a dunce that way.
They do that on purpose.
Big thanks, Brian Cooper. Thank you so much for coming, guys. This is Brian Cooper. If you're looking for an agent, he is our next agent, so that's good. I appreciate everybody listening. Make sure you smash that like button and all the stuff you got to do. Subscribe to our stuff. Leave a review or go buy a house from Brian at Cooper Realty Group. This is my dude. He's a rad guy, and thank you so much for coming.
Watch out for red flags.
Oh yeah, definitely watch out for red flags.
Hey, Justin, I really appreciate this, man. This is first podcast I've done. It's awesome. I love it, man. I think your platform and your space, man, is just kick ass, dude.
Thanks, buddy.
I
Hugely
really
for faith.
Yeah.
Hugely.
Hey, man, the Lord's gonna bless you. This is this is a kick ass.
Not gonna. He has.
Yeah.
And all this
there
is.
You go.
All this is. It's all faith, and it's all faith based, man.
Yep, absolutely. Well, praise God for it, and
for sure. Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Cheers, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming. This ain't the last time. We come again.
Hell yeah.
Cheers, man.
Good way to spend a.
Oh, I got to drink the beer. You can't cheers and not drink. That's bad juju.